This summer, I had a choice to make. I wanted to take my daughter to a movie. We've been stuck inside for a while. Felt like we wanted to get out. Let's go, just go have dinner, see a movie. There were two movies playing that I wanted to see. One was Godzilla, King of the Monsters. I hated the first Godzilla, and I really hate Kong Skull Island. But this one had more monsters. It looked like there'd be more of what I actually wanted, which is a big monster fight. We didn't pick that one. After Avengers Endgame, I was so burned out from giant spectacle movies that I just couldn't do it. I couldn't sit there and watch another big giant blockbuster. So the choice I made was Rocketman. I've been an Elton John fan for as long as I can remember. Huge Elton John fan. My iPod has got hundreds of Elton John songs on it. And I'd seen Bohemian Rhapsody. I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it when it came out on Blu-ray. I rented it, and it was fine, but I didn't understand the fuss over it because it was your standard rock biopic. It was, the band meets, and let's do this. We have this incredible thing. Let's do this, and then there's, the drugs, and then there's like the fall, and then there's the rise, and then there's, and it's the same thing that you get in Walk the Line, in all these kind of movies. But when I had heard that Rocketman was actually a musical, I perked up. Because a straightforward telling of Elton John, his drug addiction and stuff like that would have been fine, and I would have watched it at some point, but not in the theater. But the fact that it was a musical made me kind of sit up and take notice. And it didn't disappoint. I mean, I know last video I went on and on and on about Avengers Endgame. And that movie is, thus far the best movie I've seen all year long. I mean, there's very hard to compete with that so far, but Rocketman is not that far behind. I love this movie. It's fun. It's touching. The performances are great. The music is great. It doesn't overstay its welcome. The visuals are amazing. This is a rock biopic done right. This is taking the songs of Elton John, finding the spots in his life where the songs would apply, and turning them into, big musical numbers. And it was fantastic. I couldn't stop. I bought the soundtrack. I couldn't stop listening to it. It really reinvigorated. Like, I've had Elton John songs stuck in my head all summer long. Taron Egerton plays Elton John, and wow. I mean, I'd seen him in The Kingsman. I don't think I'd seen him in anything else. He is impressive. Like, this guy looks like he could be something like really, really big at some point if he wanted to be. If he really wanted to go down that path and pursue like being a huge movie star, he could do it. And not only a huge movie star, this guy deserves an Oscar nomination come Oscar season. I mean, I wonder about it because the movie came out in May, and all the big Oscar movies come out like November, December. But I hope that the Academy remembers Rocketman and gives it that nomination for Best Actor because he really deserves it. Not that the Academy means anything anymore, but it's always nice to see like somebody who really deserves it get that kind of notice. The movie is directed by, and I can't remember. Oh, jeez, don't have my glasses, so I'm not even going to attempt to read the extremely dark blue font against the black backdrop. But basically it's directed by the guy who took over Bohemian Rhapsody when Bryan Singer had his issues. um, and he does an amazing job. The visuals are great. Bohemian Rhapsody probably would have been a better movie if he directed it. Uh, it's it's fun. It's not just that it's like this touching biopic or uplifting or whatever. It's fun, and it's funny, and it's entertaining, and it's all the things that you would want from a musical, plus a biopic about Elton John. Probably a very, very, very imaginative biopic. I think there's some stuff in there where I was sitting there watching it going, it does not seem like that's how that would have happened. But in some ways, you forgive it because uh, the movie is not really trying to be exactly a biopic. The songs are not even really sequential. There are songs that, you see him when he's sort of auditioning the songs, trying to get like a record deal. There's songs in there that wouldn't have come out for 15 years. But it's like, this is where that song should go. So let's do that. Let's put this song here. Let's, you know, I mean, the movie concludes with the song I'm Still Standing, which actually came out while he was heavily in drugs. It's supposed to be like when, he's beating it and he's rising up and everything, but really he was still very on drugs at that point. There's songs that appear, in moments in time that don't correspond with reality, but this is not reality. This is a fantastical movie. Honestly, there's not a lot that I would criticize as far as like a weak point. I wonder about the portrayal of his parents, only in that they're so one-dimensionally cruel. So it makes me wonder, how much of that is actually accurate. Ditto for his manager. Now maybe they were. I'm just going to take the movie's word for it, but they are so one-dimensional that they're just the villains. But the movie does not let Elton John off the hook, which is something that I always worry about with biopics where the person is still alive and they have a hand in it, where you're like, they're really gonna. And that I will admit too, there's moments in the movie where people will say to him something like, oh, you were never ordinary, or something like that. And I'm just imagining Elton John like watching and going, yes, I approve that line. Maybe in fact he could say it with more conviction, because I really want him to stress how extraordinary I am. Which, knowing Elton John, that probably would be the way that he actually would do it. But it doesn't matter. The movie is such a delight that I forgive all those flaws, and I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. It is well worth seeking, even if you don't like the songs, because the songs are very a lot of them changed up into musical numbers. Songs like Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting, that becomes this huge giant musical number. The Bitch Is Back and Crocodile Rock, they're all these huge musical numbers that they kind of resemble their original version, but they're blown way up into cinematic musical form. So I would recommend absolutely checking out. It's fantastic. It's one of the best movies of the year, and just be prepared to not be able to get the songs out of your head for months and months and months.